What do you have in your possession that a collector would die to get their hands on? I have a pocket watch worth about £10,000. My great-granddad was given it by a German during the Christmas Day truce in 1914. I'd never trade it or sell it for anything. That is an amazing piece of history. That truce is one of my favorite historical anecdotes. Dan Carlin gave it a pretty good treatment in his podcast. I don't know about die to get their hands on, but I have a very clean copy of the first printing of Rage by Richard Bachman, Stephen King's pseudonym. About 15 years ago, I was at a half-price books bookstore, checking out the circular wire clearance rack, when I saw a very familiar book cover. I'm a big King fan and I had seen pictures of the book but never one in person. It had a $1 clearance sticker on the cover. I checked it multiple times and it was definitely a first printing. King's early Bachman books were originally printed in pocket paperbacks and later collected in the compilation, The Bachman Books. I was really excited at what I had, so I found my wife and told her we needed to check out. I put a $5 bill in my hand and went to check out separately from her. I had it in my mind that they were going to see the book for what it was, tell me it was mismarked and not let me buy it. My plan, which was probably pretty stupid, was that if that happened, I'd throw the $5 on the counter and run out the door with the book. After all, that's 5 times what it was marked. When I checked out, the guy looked at the book a couple of times, looked at the price tag, and then he looked at me. He said something along the lines of, "Do you know what this is?" I said I did. He said something like, "Someone is in trouble," and then rang it up for $1 in tax and took my cash. Because the story of Rage is about a school shooting, and a copy was found in a school shooter's locker years ago, King has vowed to never have it reprinted. I've had similar experiences working at GameStop years ago. An associate unknowingly processes a trade-in of something very rare as very common. I'd proceed to ring up a customer full well knowing that what it is in the system is not correct, and that this person is making out like a bandit. Always made me happy when that happened, because GameStop was, is, and always will be, a shit stain of a company. Edit. For those wondering what it was, this was over 10 years ago, during the height of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 craziness and hunts for Steel Battalion controllers. I can't remember anything specific per se, but when you manage to pick up a controller that goes for a cool $200 on eBay for only $9.99, it's a big deal, and I'd always let it slide. Lol. 1916 Luger my grandfather brought back from WW2. Has most if not all original parts. Don't think it's actually worth much, but still collectible. My grandma had one that my grandfather brought back from his fight in Europe. She sold it in 1992. I was 11. For $1K. I remember not knowing anything about guns, the value of guns, or even how my grandfather managed to get it. I was really sad because I'd just learned a lot about World War II and I at least knew he went through hell for it. Now it's gone and she drank the money away. What a waste. I would have had that thing framed in a shadow box. About another year after she sold it, we were going through their stuff and found the box he had kept the Luger in. It had a false bottom where he had stashed a swastika armband and a bunch of tiny photos from a concentration camp he had helped liberate apparently. That made it even more sad. As I've gotten older I realize this is all just stuff that impacted people at a moment in time. Faded memories gone, and they mean nothing unless they are kept alive. I have approximately 10 pounds meteorite in the trunk of my car. Are you sure you're not driving around with a 10-pound block of frozen airplane poop? Now that you mention it, it does have an unusual amount of space peanuts. I have an English textbook from early colonial America. I've never gotten it appraised. I'll probably donate it to a museum someday. Does the cover say English H? Lol. I wish. I think it's called Common Spellings. It's an illustrated dictionary. I remember trying to read it when I was a kid, and I didn't recognize half the words. One of the first words listed was anvil, and I was like, what the heck is an anvil? The picture didn't help at all. My mom had to explain it to me. It's called Common Spellings. It's an illustrated dictionary. This is great. A rare picture of Sean Connery signed by Roger Moore. Moore was giving a talk at my university in 2004 and I printed out the picture. He was amused when I explained the Simpsons bit and agreed to sign it for me. A 1925 Steinway. Model B, 7 foot. In pristine condition. It has a deep, rich bass and slivery, expressive trebles, the entire keyboard perfectly balanced from top to bottom, monsieur. Most Redditors will think I'm lying. But here, an unopened Barbie doll from 1960. I know this is lame compared to some of the answers here, but okay. I have an unopened Furby packed away. An old coin from the Roman Empire. I have no idea how I got it. One day I found it in a pocket of my pajamas and that was that. I have about 9. They're not worth much. Any one you have is probably in the $1 to $10 range. But if you DM me a picture I can appraise it more specifically. And if it's clean enough to identify I can help you get its registration info for official record. Cross-checks so you can tell exactly what year, symbology, emperor etc. is on it, and where it was manufactured. We have a surprisingly large amount of info on these old Roman coins, ink beauting the mints etc. When flags on military ships get tattered, they are supposed to be disposed of properly, and replaced with a flag in good condition. I have the worn Union Jack from the submarine I served on in the 1970s. It a blue flag with white stars, mounted on the bow. A 1/1 Picasso piece. It's a relic card, but it's a one-off genuine Picasso. I keep it on my mantle. A Blues Brothers album signed by the entire cast. On top of the obvious awesomeness like John Belushi, Carrie Fisher, James Brown and Aretha Franklin. Even people that made short cameos signed it like Pee Wee Herman and Steven Spielberg. Even aside from all the signatures, that is a fantastic album, monsieur. I know the Blues Brothers was always an act, but Belushi's version of Shikhat the Katie is flat out better than Taj Mahal's. It's also got two of the best versions of Thinkin' Minnie the Moocher by the original artists on it. 58 feet Les Paul. This is deep in the thread because most people have no idea what this is. Or if they do, they don't know why 58 matters. The Les Paul is an electric guitar. It uses a different kind of pickup called a humbucker, which is what translates string vibration into current for the electric sound. Humbuckers are two coils, which make a rich warm sound that isn't as heavy or versatile as a single coil. Like a Stratocaster. Hendrix famously played one. They are ubiquitous now, but in 1958–60 they didn't sell well, so Gibson ceased production. Only later would the sound become recognized as the signature sound of 60s rock and roll. Les Paul would become an era-defining luthier, and the 58–60 Les Pauls were his magnum opus. This is a holy grail of electric guitars. There were only 256 made. It was worth $50,000 at auction in 2016. I have a very unique Lily of the Valley. The bell of the flower is in a triple-layer formation. My grandfather developed this strain and it is nowhere else except in my garden. I have a Monopoly get-out-of-jail-free card, signed by Captain Kangaroo. Police Sergeant. Detective. He had a get-out-of-jail-free card. Detective. Not good enough. This guy is wanted for aggravated homicide in 4 states. Quote. Police Sergeant. Sir, it's signed by Captain Kangaroo. Detective. Goddammit. Quote. A drawing of Peter Pan signed by Mary Martin that says to Mary Martin. My great-grandmother. From Peter Pan. I remember the TV special she did as Peter Pan. It was magical. iPhone with the original Flappy Bird. I got one with the Minecraft Pocket Edition Lite and Flappy Bird. I like to think someone thinks my hockey stick signed by Hall of Famers Bobby Orr and Ray Bourque is cool. Holy shit, they both signed the same stick. Legends. I miss hockey so much right now. Same, homie, same. I have my great-grandfather's Civil War cavalry saber. In perfect condition. With the original leather harness. It's something I admired since I was a kid. And my grandma passed it down to me. And yes, he fought for the North. Which is all the more gratifying because I currently live in the South. A signed copy of the script of the first episode of The Office. First appearance of Captain Marvel autographed by Stan Lee. I have a newspaper from when Germany surrendered in World War I. I've always thought newspapers were cool. My dad has had one from Lincoln's assassination passed down. Friends. All 10 seasons. On VHS. First edition of Hunter S. Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Signed and sprinkled with wild turkey out of his glass. In my presence. Athens. Ga. Round about 1981. Like 40 well-kept Steiff toys, all from at least 50 years ago, and some of them are even older. A couple years ago my mom sold a couple Steiff monkeys that her dad used in his photography studio. To get kids' attention. I was not pleased when I found out. I loved those monkeys, and while I played with them as a kid, they were in great condition. But my mom got a reasonably fair price for them, and the collector was over the moon to get them this year. I have samurai sword signed by Randy Jackson. I bumped into him and all I had on me was this samurai sword. And you're not gonna not get Randy Jackson's autograph. Right. I would have done the same thing. Ark of the Covenant. Haven't looked inside though. Dear Jonah vs. the Whale. We understand that you are in the possession of the Ark of the Covenant. Go ahead and look inside. It's okay. Sincerely, the Nazis. A 90-million-year-old chunk of Burmese amber with a water beetle and a gnat mosquito type insect in it. Not planning on opening any theme parks, are you? Laughing face. I wonder how much expense would be spared. Remember, raptors hunt in packs. Probably not super rare or expensive. Just cool. Late 1800s illustrated copy of Jules Verne's Mysterious Island. In English. Not in the original language. First edition Black Lotus Magic the Gathering trading card. It is certified 9.5 on the BGS. It would probably take a very specific collector. But I have a chewing tobacco can signed by Willie Nelson from when my grandma dated him back in the 50s. I also have one of the first ping putters from back when they only made putters. Given to me when my grandpa died. I'm pretty sure my grandma would kill to have that tobacco can. She's a big fan. She went to a show a few years back and was in the first row. During one of his songs he held out his hand to her and she climbed up on stage to dance with. Hi monsieur, I'm sure there's video of it somewhere. She's hugging him from behind for about half a minute before security comes to escort her off stage. It made her night. Lol. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.